great. You have to be willing to activate the great from within. It starts with you, and it starts right now. It's time for Activate the Great with Tyler Davis.
Man, how you doing?
Doing good. Greg Thomas here as always.
I already know.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Trying to make it happen.
Move
right?
the needle.
That's it.
Yep.
One thing at a time. Just to kind of live life, right?
Show up and make it happen.
We feel like what it means to actually live.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Because
Right.
that can definitely take on a thing of its own.
Yeah, it's like living or bondage,
Well,
right? Like you're stuck, right?
it can feel that way sometimes.
Yeah, like
But it don't have to.
no, it doesn't have to. You move that needle, like you just said.
Yep.
Today is a lot about like living life, right?
Yeah, man.
So, and every day is, but today's episode is really about how do we actually live a better life? And I'm hesitant to throw the adjective in there of better, right? But for these purposes, for
Right.
context, it's an improvement. How do we improve upon what we have?
It makes
right?
it land a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
How do we live?
Yeah.
How do we
and
really
that's what
live?
it's all about.
Right.
Like wake day to day, waking up and living life
Absolutely.
to the fullest ability.
For sure. So today we're going to talk about 3 things you can do today to start living or live a better life, right? So we just want to get into it. I feel like this has been a really nice evolution where we're at right now, and these things just kind of, stack together and build together, and some more things unfold, and that's what we're going to share with you today. Number 1, we're going to put education over entertainment.
Man, and that is so powerful. I mean, I can't even stress the importance of what that's been for me personally over the last 12 years.
Oh,
Feeding my mind and learning how to reprogram, rewire, to live life.
oh,
Like, how
man.
do you take on the day-to-day stuff that's going to come your way? Well, it's updating the operating system.
Oh man, I mean, you could write a book on about the whole notion of get busy living,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, man.
So we see a lot about that. We even have that on some of our shirts and stuff that we've done. Get busy living.
Yeah.
Let's actually live.
What are you waiting for?
Yeah, and it's not always like a concert or this or that. There should be opportunities like where you're like you find entertainment within education,
Yeah.
seeing what you can learn.
Oh, be a sponge, man. Soak it up. Because there's so much stuff out there, especially now.
Well, yeah,
And that's where the double-edged sword can come in. Because we have access to so much
For sure.
knowledge.
for sure. And I guess what I want to challenge people to do is be intentional, right? Be intentionally be a student.
Right.
When did there's just for some of us at some point somewhere along the way, okay, we stop being a student.
Yeah. Yeah, and why, man? It's that curiosity.
Sure.
To soak it up and learn something new. Like, what's a topic
sure.
you're interested in?
Well, let's start with that, right? That's a little mini call to action right there. What are you interested in?
Yeah.
When's the last time you sat down and talked about that and like just kind of basked in that, maybe made a little bit of a list? Here's the stuff that I think's cool.
Yeah, right.
And then start, there's all kinds, to your
Yeah,
point.
It don't have to be as big as a bucket list.
No.
Of like things I want to make sure happen before I die.
Yeah.
Like, come on now.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that way. You can start living today.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the thing. And like you think about, what are things that are cool? Like for me, like anything, if you have something that has to do with like DNA or like how the brain works from a neurological standpoint,
Yep.
I'm on it, like
Yeah.
white on rice. Okay, I can't stop watching it. And then what are those things for you? For out there in listener land,
Yeah.
I happen to enjoy those things, and that is entertaining to me because I'm like, hey, and not that this would surprise anybody, it just gives me something else to talk about.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, but but it's constantly feeding your brain.
Sure.
Yep.
From an education standpoint, it's cool to know stuff now.
Well, yeah.
You remember back in the day, like when you were scared to raise your hand?
Oh, yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
Hey.
You can be Google.
right.
You
Let's
don't-
identify with it. Let's identify with knowing stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't always need to talk about, our favorite episode of, How I Met Your Mother, right? Or
Right.
Keeping Up with the Kardashians, or so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I mean, there is entertainment. I'm not saying just shut it all down, but what I am saying is what we are saying is be intentional with education.
Yeah, man. Focus on how you're spending that time.
For
There
sure.
needs to be some downtime. That's not what we're saying. No, but there has to also be time you're investing in education and knowledge.
Sure.
And growth.
We're right now on this book, Ego is the Enemy. Man, I keep going back. I'm not like just trying to be in a hurry to get through it. Similar to Atomic Habits,
Yeah.
going back and forth and listening to these things again because you're going to pick stuff up.
Every time.
And like I am genuinely curious about what else is in this book and what else I'm going to learn about myself. You know, and we're going to dive into, you know, how to feel good about wanting more
Right.
out of that here in a little bit. But, you know, education, be intentional with it, right? When's the last time you were intentional? Like for a lot of us, it's going to be when you were in school.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that was it. Or you took on a trade or something along those lines, but man, it don't have to stop there.
No, it doesn't. So, you know, again, put education over entertainment. Just be intentional with the education piece. Make a little list of what you really like, you know, with some stuff that just kind of trips your trigger, you know, and you can find it through YouTube. You can find it through a lot of, you know, Audible, paperback books, all these things, documentaries, you know what I mean? I mean, we can
So
find,
much
we can
stuff.
stream anything you want,
Yep.
you know?
It's right there.
So find it, go after it. Be intentional with the education. Number 2, keep track of what you attach yourself to. We've been talking about detachment,
Yeah.
but that's the outcome, right? That's the outcome that we want. Well, if we never attach to something, we don't have to worry about detaching from it.
Exactly.
So, you know, some things that, you know, you attach to, right? Like when you're, you know, we talked about last week how you're constantly sizing up a situation. You walk into a room, you're assessing. You know, I know that's a little Ricky repeater from last week, but like, you know, when's the last time did you realize how many opinions you really have?
Yeah, man. Tons. As long as you're, you know, taking stock in, hey, what's going on between my ears in this moment?
Oh, autopilot. You just like, bloop. Oh,
Yep.
you know, and it's like it just grabs your attention and, you know, or your mind races with some things that next thing you know, it's just happening.
Right. Creating that movie.
Oh, or someone cuts you off,
Yeah.
like, you know, that you attach to that, you know, that's something that I'm still working through in a big way. But, you know, or, you know, kind of the notion that things are always happening to you,
Yeah.
you know?
Things are just happening.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of like, if you kind of have the wrong mindset, you know, these things find you. You attract it.
Yeah. Law of attraction, man.
So if you can catch yourself before you're attaching to all these things, guess what?
yeah.
You made more room. You're going to be attracting new things.
Bandwidth.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Like you start thinking about, what do I really feel this way? Or is this just been something I've said for so long
Right.
that I'm, you know, automatic with it?
Like we've said before, this no longer serves me. It's time to put it down.
Yeah. We got to take inventory, right? What are we really attaching to?
Yeah.
That's something that my old man said for years and years and years, and I just haven't formulated my own opinion on it, or I haven't realized that I can formulate a different response
Yeah.
to that.
You don't have to take on what he may have meant by it. You can create your own.
Yeah,
meaning for it.
Create you hit the nail on the head right there, brother. It's create your own meaning for that scenario.
Yep.
Versus an automatic response.
Mm-hmm.
You think? I mean, I've been really paying attention to that over the past couple weeks.
It's real.
It's a real thing. You wanna free up some bandwidth. You wanna start living life today.
Yep.
Pay attention to what you're attaching yourself to,
Most definitely.
and all you have to do is catch yourself. That's it.
Yep.
We don't need you to figure it out.
No.
It's not David and Goliath. When we're not moving them out.
No.
All I want you to do is catch yourself, because then you're going to find out, like, hey, do I really identify with this?
Yeah. Start with that.
Yes.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. And lastly, realize wanting more out of yourself does not mean you're broken.
And that is such a huge one that people need to just pause and sit and think about for a minute.
Think about it.
Like marinate on that.
We're pre-programmed through conditioning
Yep.
over years and years and years and years and years to think that if you want something more, like self-help.
Right.
Well, help is like, that's really a tough like word there. Help.
Right.
How about self-improvement?
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
You can improve yourself without there being something wrong.
Right. That's the whole point of putting education over entertainment. Just continue to improve.
You would never try to pull yourself out of a hole you're not in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. But we
do
create
it.
a hole.
We do it. We
Yep.
dig one,
Yeah.
don't we?
Yeah.
We find ourselves in these loops, these thought and action loops. Oh, here I did this. This is how I always handle it. Whenever I do this, then I say this.
Right.
Vice versa. And next thing you know, you're digging a hole, you know, and you're in something that's completely manifested on your own. And it's crazy. It's
not real.
So what are we going to do with this stuff, right? So, yeah, you know, we're going to put education over entertainment. We're going to keep track of what we attach to. Okay, we're going to realize we're not broken just because we want to improve.
That's such a huge one.
Oh, it's just massive. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to replace reality TV with a documentary, right? Or other learning opportunities.
Super simple. You can still take that time at the end of the day to relax and unwind, but what's going in?
No, we're going to be intentional with the education.
Yeah,
I'm challenging you all to 3 hours a week.
Man, History Channel over HGTV.
Come on, let's do it.
It's a little switch.
And like, how real is reality TV?
Right.
Okay, these aren't real lives anyway, but we are being meant to think that they are.
Right.
Like everything is just one, procedure away from happiness, right? The way they do things, or one paycheck away from happiness, or one car away from happiness, or oh my gosh, all we have to do is sit around and talk about like how rich we are.
Right.
Real? That's reality?
It's wild, man. 'Cause if you were to be in a supermarket or something and one of those situations were to unfold in front of you, you would likely just want to get away from it as quick as possible.
For real.
But then why do you sit down to unwind and just pummel yourself with it?
It's because it's mindless activity.
Yeah.
For some reason, we have worn ourselves out with all the things that we attach ourselves to that we think this is what we need to decompress.
Yeah, and that's not.
And it's a revolving door. It's a loop. It's a loop. And you wonder why you never feel any different.
Overstimulation of negativity.
You're just backfilling your day with BS when you're doing that, you know, and versus, the educational opportunities. Look for them because you've already made your list, right? You already say, hey, these are the things I'm really into that I would want to learn more about that would keep my attention, right, for longer than 6 minutes or 1 minute or the span of a commercial.
Yep.
Right? Next call to action. You're going to keep track of how many times you catch yourself attaching to things.
Yeah, man. You got to recognize the habit before you can break it.
In just the notion, just keeping track of it, right? Catching yourself do it. I cannot tell you the impact in such a short period of time this has made for me personally. I was just like, whoa. I don't even remember like automatically going to that. Automatically to having, I'm going to interject. I'm going to put energy into this.
And all of a sudden you're just there.
With a reaction, a thought, an opinion, an assessment, right? Gossip.
The list goes on and on, man.
Pay attention to what you attach yourself to. Keep track of it, okay? And you might find out that there's more to you. So pay attention. Keep track of what you're attaching to. Then remember, you're allowed. We are all allowed to live our best life.
You don't need permission from anyone.
No one.
Except yourself.
You don't need permission to feel good about yourself. You don't need permission to look as good as you can and feel as good as you can and know as much as you can.
Yeah.
It's always a green light. Always catching the green light, right?
Yeah, man. Can you imagine that? What your commute would be like? How many of these things are caused in traffic? That, like you just said, if you just always caught the green light, man. Dude,
you feel like, I'm having a good day.
That's right.
I'm here to tell you, okay? If you're not always seeing the green lights, because you're choosing not to.
Yeah.
You're flipping the switch.
Yeah, man. Don't turn your own check engine light on.
You deserve it. You're allowed to have it, and you're allowed to live life to its fullest.
Yep.
Okay. Last call to action. This is gonna be challenged, okay? Because we do it all the time. I want everybody to replace questions like when somebody has something on their mind, something's going on with one of your kids, something comes up. Stop saying what's wrong.
Yep.
We're going to replace it with how can I help?
Yep. That's
how can I help?
Massive shift.
We sit there and wonder why, like so many of us feel like we need fixed when we're trying to improve things. Is because we've been preconditioned
to think we're broken.
Yeah, something's wrong. What's wrong?
Yeah.
Well, maybe your perception. Maybe you just say, hey, how can I help? Well, I got da-da-da-da-da. Right. Well, what if that was a misperception?
Right. Because then you trigger in somebody, well, something must be wrong.
You're locking it in.
Yeah.
There must be something wrong. You're asking me. Let me find out what's wrong. Let me find something wrong with this.
Yeah.
Versus, so this starts with us, though. Everybody's listening to this. Stop using what's wrong, and we're going to replace it with how I can help.
Yep. There it is. Simple shift, but it has a massive impact.
It's massive impact, dude. It's like an asteroid. So use this, okay? So you're gonna replace reality TV with documentaries. You're gonna keep track of how many times you're attaching to things. You're gonna remember you're allowed to live your best life. And we're gonna replace what's wrong with how can I help. Rock it out this week, and we love you. Thank you. I want to take a quick minute to thank our sponsor, ccmindiana.com, for all your mortgage needs. Very competitive, ready to rock, ready to help you be a pre-approved buyer that can compete. Ready to get pre-approved for your next mortgage? Stop by ccmindiana.com and see how we can help.